Trump did more for the black community than any president in the last few decades, but sure, he's racist too. Here's reporter Ryan Lizza asking me if Trump wished the South had won the Civil War.
Does President Trump believe that it was a good thing that the South lost the Civil War? And then two, is he interested in following NASCAR's example and banning the Confederate flag at his own events?
Well, your first question is absolutely absurd. He's proud of the United States of America. Do you see the pattern here? That is the playbook, the same one time and time again. Reporters and operatives throw out ridiculous questions, hoping you slip up and say something that they can plaster on their websites, newspapers, and cable news chyrons.
Since Nikki Haley couldn't force herself to acknowledge the existence of slavery in America when speaking to a bunch of supporters, Kayleigh McEnany seems to have sprung into action to cover for it by reminiscing on the time she had to cover for MAGA's pro-Confederate principles. She just can't figure out why anyone would ask if Trump or his people wished that the South had won the Civil War.
Democrats were the ones that were for slavery. The Democrats were the ones that came up with the Jim Crow stuff.
Even if all of that were true about slavery, which party flies the Confederate flag today?
A lot of the Democrats.
You really think Democrats fly the Confederate flag more than
Democrats
Republicans?
that, yes.
Overwhelmingly, you'll see a Confederate flag right next to a Trump flag. That's just how it works nowadays.
No, I haven't seen that overwhelmingly.
You really? Was it Democrats or Republicans trying to take down Confederate statues?
Confederate statues?
Which party was trying to take down Confederate statues?
What's the statue got to do with?
You're saying that Democrats are pro-Confederate, but weren't Democrats trying to remove Confederate statues?
Why are they doing that?
Because they're anti-Confederate.
No, they're not.
Why are they trying to remove the statues then?
Because they're trying to change the history of our country. Take your camera and go interview all these black people that are here, okay?
Yeah.
And you ask them.
The three black people that are here?
If you ask them.
This is the result of empty talking points being passed on as facts in the face of reality. If these folks are asked a few simple follow-ups to explain their ironclad stances, the only way they still make sense is for Florida to continue to burn more history books and for Haley to wonder, what's slavery? And if this escape from reality sounds familiar, it's because it's from the same playbook used in 2020. Claim support from the black community for no other reason than some kind words from a couple black pundits and political figures.
Mr. President, I want to ask you what you're doing for what you want to do for the country in a second term, because you had a really wide tent at your convention. We've spoken with Burgess Owens, Herschel Walker, Candace Owens, all of these people from the black community that have said very supportive things about you. Talk to us about what you want to do in a second term and why you think you are hearing this outreach from the black and minority community.
We have tremendous black community support, men and women, by the way, because I've done more for the black community than any president except Abraham Lincoln, and it's true.
Weird that the kind words about Trump from Herschel Walker were prominent until he discovered that he was only a pawn in Trump's attempt to get reelected. And when your black support comes in the form of denigrating the basic intelligence of other black Americans by using age-old racist tropes, it's still bigoted. Watch.
Even if black Americans are aware and know their history, right? And you can get black conservatives who understand the history much more, who understand, the ills of the left and what the left has done. But still in that regard, they bring to the conservative side the same bad habits that I was hoping black conservatives would be abandoning. And what I'm talking about, number one, is conflict resolution. Black Americans do not know how to resolve basic conflicts. Everything has to turn into a fight. I hate you forever. You got to draw lines. It's like you're this gang or that gang. And you still see it happening in politics.
I'm not even going to get into how MAGA support starts and ends with anger, division, threats, and promises of violence if everyone doesn't fall in line behind a clueless leader. A leader that ironically likes his African Americans loyal and willing to fight at a moment's notice, unable to resolve the most basic conflicts. Maybe this is the kind of African-American that Candace was making generalizations about.
We had a case where we had an African-American guy who was a fan of mine. Great fan, great guy. In fact, I want to find out what's going on with him. You know what look at my African-American over here. Look at him. Are you the greatest? Do you know what I'm talking about? Okay, so we have an African-American guy at one of the rallies a month ago, and he's sitting there behaving. And we had protesters inside the arena, and they were dressed in a Ku Klux Klan outfit, okay? And they're running around dressed as Ku Klux Klan, and the place is booing them, booing them. This African American gets up and, man, he slugged these guys. He slugged them. And by that time, their hat was off because it got ripped off as they were running up the stairs. But this guy, a great guy, I think he was a military guy for a long time, he slugged this guy wearing the Ku Klux Klan outfit. But by the time he got up to the top, you couldn't see it was a Ku Klux Klan outfit. So when the African-American cold-cocked this guy never knew what happened. Everybody thought the African-American was against me, and it was the opposite. He was like this great guy, military guy. We have tremendous African-American support.